Algebra 1 students. Today we are going to focus on graphing a system of linear inequalities, which takes it up a notch from just graphing a single linear inequality by itself. So in this set, we're going to make sure that we're graphing two or more inequalities on the same coordinate grid. It's going to be very similar in the graphing process as to before, but we just have to be really careful when we're doing our final shading. So what I like to do is I like to color code things. If you have colored pencils or if you have highlighters or anything that can really help you distinguish where the different shading is would be beneficial in this. If you don't have color coding and you're just working with pencils, then you'll just want to make sure that you shade lighter until the very end when you shade the final product region. You'll see what I mean in a second once we get started. Okay, so to graph this system here, I can see I have two lines. Here's line 1 and here's line 2. Okay, I'm going to already start the color coding here. So line 1 I'm going to graph in black and line 2 I'm going to graph in red. Both my lines happen to be in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to identify the key pieces of information. My slope for line 1 is 2, the y-intercept is -3. So I'm going to start with plotting a y-intercept of -1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to follow my slope, which is 2 over 1. So up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And that will continue all the way through the grid. All right, once I've graphed my points through the grid, I got to decide if I'm going to use a dotted or solid line to connect those points. Because this is not underlined, I should be using it's strictly greater than. I don't want to include the points on the line. I should be using a dotted line. So I'm going to connect every other dot here and call it a day. Last but not least, I have to decide which way I'm going to shade that line. This is where I like to color code. Okay, so I'm going to choose yellow to shade the black line, the line that I drew in black. Okay, if you don't have colors, just shade super lightly. Okay, I need to shade where y has to be greater than -3. So I want my y values to be bigger than -3. Those y values are up here. All of these y's are greater than -3. So I'm going to shade the left side or above the line. Okay, so that's the first inequality graph. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to graphing the second one. Again, this is in slope-intercept form, so identify the slope and the y-intercept. I plot the y-intercept of 1. The slope is 1/2, so I go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, all the way through the grid. Up 1, down 1 over 2, whoops. Okay, and then I'm going to decide what type of line should I be using. It is underlined, so that means I want to include the line because it's greater than or equal to. So here, I'm going to use a solid line to connect those red points. And last but not least, I'm going to use blue this time to go ahead and shade the red line. I have to kind of focus only on the red line here. So you're going to notice when I do this, I'm going to outline the red line and then shade in a direction. That helps me make sure that I'm shading correctly. So for this one, I want the y values to be greater than 1. So here's the line. The y values are greater than 1 when we're above the line. So I'm going to outline the red, and then I want to shade up from there. And what's nice about the color coding, when I use the yellow and the blue, I get the nice little mixture and I can see where the overlap is. The overlap is your solution region. Only the points that are in the double shaded region are considered a solution to the system. So there has to be some way that we indicate that that's our final solution region. If you have two colors, it'll be clear because you can see the overlap. If you don't have two colors and you're just using pencils, then go ahead and darken in the final solution region, so your teacher knows nice and clearly where that is. Okay, I'm going to do one more example up above because sometimes students get tricked on how to graph this line. So I'm going to do the line, graph this system where y is less than or equal to 3 and y is greater than x plus 2. In this system, I'm going to start with the line y is less than or equal to 3. This is just the horizontal line. right? Remember, y equals is a horizontal line, and a horizontal line, and x equals is a vertical line. So I'm going to find a y value of 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to draw a horizontal line through this. Now, I drew a solid line right away because this symbol was underlined. So I knew I wanted to include the line. To shade that, I want all the y values that are less than 3, so that means I'm shading below. All these numbers under here have y values that are less than 3. And then I'm going to graph the second line, so we'll graph that one in red. Again, this has a slope of 1. This is in slope-intercept form, and it has a y-intercept of 2. So I'll plot my y-intercept of 2, and then I follow my slope, rise over run, 1 over 1, all the way through the grid. And I have to decide if I want to connect those points with a solid or dotted line. This is strictly greater than, so I want to use a dotted line because I'm not including the points on the line. So let's connect those with just a quick dotted line. And again, I'm going to shade in blue. I want the y values to be greater than 2. So I'm going to put my pencil on 2, and I want to go above that. So that means I want to shade above the red line. So I'll outline the red line and then go in the upwards direction away from it. Last but not least, we darken in our double shaded region, so I can see very clearly that that's the green region. Just darken that in, and you're done. Good luck graphing your inequalities.